Russell Wilson gets a big payday from the Broncos, while Lamar Jackson continues to wait for his payday from the Ravens. And we talk rookie quarterbacks all right here in the Locked On NFL podcast. It's the Friday edition with Chris Carter and your boy Q. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On NFL, your daily NFL podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome to the Locked On NFL podcast. It's the Friday edition here with Chris Carter and your boy Q, wrapping up the week for you here on the show. Remember, you can find the show on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Odyssey, and YouTube. If you're watching this video on YouTube, hit the like button on this video if you enjoyed. Hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel to get all of our daily Monday through Friday episodes. I'm Chris Carter of Locked On Steelers. He's your boy Q of Locked On Raiders. And we're breaking things down. Q, how's it going, man?
It is going great, man. I mean, we're right around the corner from the regular season getting started, right? So, yeah, man, a lot of exciting football on the way, a lot of exciting football conversations on the way. So, yeah, man, excited to be back with you on another Friday.
Hey, man, I feel you on that. It's an exciting time. I'm still like coming down from covering Pitt versus West Virginia, the backyard brawl return Thursday night, and one of the craziest wins I've ever seen live. And covering that up until like 2 a.m. last night. So that was a lot of fun. But the NFL also being right around the corner, like you said, is crazy. The Broncos make you could call this a fourth quarter move before the season starts in signing Russell Wilson to a $245 million contract with $165 million guaranteed, $124 million fully guaranteed. Q, I saw these numbers and everyone's like wowing over the total numbers. It's average of $49 million per year. But I look at that and I say, like, that guaranteed number, that's significantly lower than Deshaun Watson's guaranteed number. And it makes me wonder, like Russell Wilson, he is older, so maybe that plays a part into it. But it makes me wonder about the Denver Broncos and how they're going to have to build this team around Russell Wilson for the next, 6 years, because that's what they're committed to him for.
Yeah, it's going to be a good question, man. I mean, of course, Denver's been looking for a quarterback ever since Peyton Manning's been gone, right? I mean, that's been the biggest question. And before Peyton Manning got there, they were looking for a quarterback. So, once they find one, they need to lock in. And the good thing for Russell Wilson is he's not super old, so he can, probably play the majority of that contract, if not the whole contract out, as long as he stays healthy, obviously. But, I think that he's a hell of a player. And there's things that you've got to do. If you commit that kind of money to the quarterback or any other kind of position on the team or multiple positions on the team, then you've got to go and dip into the draft. You got to dip into undrafted free agents. You've got to be able to get lesser talent, get guys on rookie deals. Like if you're building up the offensive line, you've got to hit on that, that right tackle or that left tackle that you might have drafted and have 4 or 5 years on a rookie deal. I mean, that's the way that you're able to do it. So if that's going to work for Denver, and it remains to be seen, obviously, but if it works, that's the way it's going to work. They have to be able to hit on other guys on lesser deals. Like Jerry Jeudy's still on a rookie deal, right? So he's able to, be that talent, but all of a sudden they've got to, pay him at some point. Patrick Surtain, they just drafted him. He's on a rookie deal, but at some point they have to pay him. You know what I mean? So, they've got to be creative. But the one thing I know about the NFL, we've seen a perfect example is the Los Angeles Rams. You can get creative. I mean, they paid everybody and they hit on a lot of lower level draft picks, homegrown guys that were undrafted free agents, and also, like I said, 4th, 5th, 6th round picks that are very cheap and under control, team control for 3 or 4 years.
Absolutely. I also would be remiss to say today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered all season long with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. But Q, this, like you said, down the line, that is going to be a problem. But right now, they have that talent. Patrick Surtain is one of the best young corners in the league. They got Courtland Sutton. They got Jerry Jeudy. They got Javonte Williams. They have a lot of weapons, and they have a defense with weapons on it, too. You got Justin Simmons at safety. This is a team that the way it's built right now could be a strike now team, but you're in the heck of a division to try to strike now with the Kansas City Chiefs still having Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. They get Juju Smith-Schuster. They're still going to be tough. The Los Angeles Chargers have loaded up to give Justin Herbert his best chance to make a run and finally make the playoffs. And of course, your Las Vegas Raiders that made the playoffs last year and rebounded in what was a very tough year. Also, I got to say, man, can y'all keep a first-round pick? Because the last 3 first-round picks are now gone from the team. But again, I still look at the Raiders and I say that could be a playoff team this year. And
Exactly.
I just don't know how the Broncos. I mean, they've invested all in this. I don't know who loses out in this AFC West.
Well, that's the thing about it, Chris. I think that this is the first year in a long time that the AFC West is wide open. Like I like to say, wide open like some old school TV antennas, right? I mean, Kansas City had a stranglehold on the division for so long, right? They won it like 6 or 7 years in a row, but losing Tyreek Hill to me is a big deal. And I know a lot of folks are saying, well, they still got Andy Reid. There's still talent. You're right, but Tyreek Hill's a different talent, right? He's that guy where you have to know where he's at on the field at all times because he's a dude who could be in the end zone before you know it. So I think that the game changes. I'm not saying that Kansas City's not going to be good. I just think they're going to be different. Still good, but a different team without Tyreek Hill. And I feel like everyone is more evenly matched in the division. So for the first time in a very long time, as I mentioned, I think I wouldn't be surprised if Denver won the division. I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers won the division. I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs won the division or the Raiders. I really wouldn't. They're that evenly matched. Every team in the AFC West has things that you're looking at and saying, okay, that's a great element of that team. They also are flawed. So, whose flaws can be masked the best, I think is going to be the biggest question. And that's going to really determine who's going to win the AFC West. And the only question I really have in Denver, to be 100% honest with you, is I just want to see how quickly the Nathaniel Hackett, Russell Wilson marriage can come to go to work, right? Because this is a guy who's a new head coach. He's been an offensive coordinator before, and he's called plays before. He didn't call plays in Green Bay. That was Matt LaFleur. But he's been an offensive coordinator before. Now he's being a head coach for the first time. That's a different ball game, right? Everyone isn't the most successful guy as a head coach immediately. I mean, hell, look at the Raiders head coach, Josh McDaniels. He failed miserably in Denver, but I feel like now he has a better chance the second time around to be successful, and we've seen that a lot of times. So that's my biggest question to hang up really with the Denver Broncos. But as far as the quarterback position, it's something they've been needed for a long time, and now they got their guy, and they've got him locked in, him and his wife, and they're singing and doing their 1-2 step all the way to the bank.
Sierra, man.
She's so overrated. She's so overrated.
Oh, why you gonna diss a queen like that? Come on, man.
Hey, man, she's so overrated. She hasn't had a hit. She hasn't had a hit since when?
All right, listen. Her last.
When's the last hit she had, Chris? When's the last hit?
It's been a minute.
Yeah, who you telling? Yeah, exactly.
But listen. She's a mom now. She can't do the crazy stuff that she used to do, talking about her goodies. So she got. I saw the last
video she was in, bruh. I saw the last video she was in. He's still talking about her goodies and still trying to drop it like it's hot on top of a Jeep and all this other stuff. But hey, that's her thing. That's her business. I'm just saying she hasn't had a hit in a long time. We always talk. I don't know how we always end up bringing up Sierra on the show, but I literally have a picture in my office.
That's right. You do.
Sierra.
Yeah. This is a surprise possession. I was like, I was like, you don't got that picture. And then I come to find out, like, if you go through Q's museum of celebrities he's taken pictures with, there's very few people he hasn't taken a picture with. Like this guy chills with Obama. He gets drinks with Oprah, like just on a whim. He flies in. So like, all I'm saying is, can I get on your wall sometime, because we hung out, and I would like to be amongst these famous people on your wall of famous.
You're the most famous of them all, man. You're the most famous of them all.
You heard it right there. From Q, the man himself in Las Vegas. We're going to take a quick break. We come back. Russell Wilson getting paid brings a lot more to the perspective of what's going on in Baltimore, as Lamar Jackson still isn't paid. It's crazy to me that that's the case right now. We'll talk about that and a lot more here in the Locked On NFL podcast. But first, we got to talk to you guys about BetOnline.net. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting stats and sports information. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's Major League Baseball playoffs as we get closer to that. It's September, but of course, the NFL is back. So get right on that. All the bets leading up to Week 1. Hey, this time next week, we're previewing Week 1. So you want to get on all those bets, go to BetOnline right now. It's your continued source for all your sports wagering information, live betting, playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in the action when you visit BetOnline, where the game starts. We're back here on the Locked On NFL podcast. Q is simple with his jokes, but Q, we got to talk about Lamar Jackson, because he's still not paid there's been some interesting back and forth. At first, Lamar Jackson looked like he might not show up. Then he does show up. Then it looks like everything's fine. Then nothing gets done. And then people are tweeting about it on Twitter, and they're saying, "Oh man, Lamar Jackson turned this down. They offered him $200 million guaranteed, and he turned that down." And he tweets back, "No, they did not." And he basically he calls that out on Twitter. And now we're sitting around looking like, okay, are the Ravens going to shell out the money for Lamar Jackson? He carries their organization. He's the reason that they've stayed afloat the last few years without any true receiving core. Early, he's just working with Mark Andrews. His entire backfield was decimated last year, and yet he still found a way to keep them in the playoff hunt till late in the season. It baffles me that they haven't paid him, and he's a young quarterback. Russell Wilson is at least in his mid-30s now. Like you could at least say, okay, but he got paid. What is the holdup with the Lamar Jackson situation?
I don't know 100% what the holdup is, but I think if I'm Lamar Jackson, I can only speak on what I would do if I'm in his position. I'm not, and I refuse to. And we just saw the deal that Russell Wilson just signed. I refuse to take any less than Deshaun Watson got. I mean, bottom line, that is my negotiating floor.
I'd say the same thing.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's got to be the floor. Dude, I'm a model citizen. I am your MVP. Whole offense. I'm an MVP. I'm not getting less than that, dude. It's not Lamar Jackson's fault that the Cleveland Browns had to money whip Deshaun Watson to be there. I mean, literally, that's what happened. Deshaun's only a Cleveland Brown because they gave him all that money, they guaranteed it, and they made sure that they structured his contract so when he gets suspended, and he has suspended now, that he doesn't lose out on very much money. I mean, they literally bought Deshaun Watson. So I'm sorry. The nature of the beast is everyone else gets paid and they get a raise. And if I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm holding out as well, because you know what? I know it's a real big gamble. If he doesn't get paid this year and Baltimore has to franchise him, you know how much that franchise tag is going to be? I mean, you know what I mean? Like Kirk Cousins has shown that you could play the long game and really end up winning in a major way. I mean, Kirk Cousins, he has done virtually nothing in the league except for win when it comes to the contract situation, because he's got nothing but guaranteed deals.
Right, and then eventually he got his deal with the Vikings, and that let him get paid. I think Lamar Jackson's in a position where if he took that route, if he was like, okay, franchise me, let's just play that game for a bit, and he stayed healthy, I think there could be a situation where maybe he's looking at his future and saying, like, he does that for 2 years. He stays Lamar Jackson. He improves a little bit. He gets some big wins, continues the big numbers. And then the Ravens are just like, well, we just can't pay you. We're going to draft a guy. And then he hits the free agent market. We saw Kirk Cousins got gobbled up and got that payday. Kirk Cousins ain't on the level of Lamar Jackson.
Not even close.
Not even close. Lamar Jackson could get paid if he hit the open market like that. And maybe that's the gamble that he's taking. A lot of people, every year I've heard for years, and I'm in Pittsburgh, so I especially hear it from Steelers fans. Oh, eventually he's going to get hit. Oh, eventually he's going to get hurt. Right. And then he's not going to be able to run anymore. But we've been saying this for 4 years now?
Right.
It's been a hot minute, and the guy protects himself better than almost anybody I've seen that's run the football as a quarterback. The guy makes smart plays. I think it's a mistake by the Ravens not to pay your best player to stick around and then build around him. And it could be one that ends up biting them in the butt. And who knows? Maybe there's some talks going on right now as we speak that they're trying to finalize this. But right now, if I'm a Ravens fan, I am very worried.
Yeah, I think that they're probably trying to get it locked in. I think that they obviously want Lamar Jackson. They know what he brings to the table. They know what he's done. But again, that whole situation in Cleveland is throwing a monkey wrench in what they're doing. And look, Kyler Murray, he settled for less. Well, Kyler Murray's not Lamar Jackson, so he settled for less. Russell Wilson just got a contract extension. It's a hefty one. It looks really good, but he settled for less. I mean, again, in the NFL, it's a bottom line business. The guaranteed money is what matters, right? You can have all the numbers that you want on the contract. You can get paid $400, $500 million. If the guaranteed money says you're only going to make 145, guess what? You're most likely only going to make 145 million guaranteed. I mean, that's just what it is. The guaranteed money is what matters. And I'm sorry, there's a guy in Cleveland named Deshaun Watson that got 230 million guaranteed. If I'm Lamar Jackson, it's real simple. I'm in there with Baltimore, say, I love you guys, but this is a business. As you very well know, this is a business. I'm not getting paid a dime less than that dude. I mean, that's the bottom line. And that's why he probably feels comfortable being his own representation, because that's not hard to convey, right? That's not a hard message to send. hey, Chris, I'm not getting paid less than that dude. Okay, well, we can't pay you that. Well, all right, you figure it out. I'm gonna be me because that's all I could do. You know what I mean? Like, I honestly believe it's that simple, even though it feels like it can't be that simple, but I think it has to be that simple.
I mean, if you're Lamar Jackson standards, yeah, it is that simple. Pay me or I go get paid somewhere else.
Right.
But if you're the Ravens, I guess it isn't that simple because I also get a sense that the Ravens may fear that they're going to put themselves where they were with Joe Flacco about 9 years ago when they won the Super Bowl with Joe Flacco. He got the biggest payday at the time that a quarterback could ask for. He got all the money in the world, but then the subsequent teams of the Baltimore Ravens destroyed the roster. They weren't able to build around it. They had to hit on some draft picks. They missed on some, and that led to them being in the state that they were when Lamar Jackson took over, and he carried them out of that. But to me, that's another reason why they should pay him, because with that very roster that they built around Joe Flacco, he was able to turn them to a loser, from a loser into a playoff contender. And that's where I say, like, man, you still got to pay this guy. But I get there's a hesitation there, especially in today's NFL. You see a lot of teams, they have success when their quarterback is being paid, his rookie contract money, so they can pay other teams to build, pay other players to build around him. But at the same time, you see, it's not just your construction around Lamar Jackson that's winning. It's Lamar Jackson himself, which again, if you're him, why would I ever back down in this situation? People back up the truck for Aaron Rodgers. People back up the truck for Tom Brady. People back up the truck for even Kirk Cousins, and they backed up the truck for Deshaun Watson, who, by the way, won't play the first 11 games of the season. If I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm I'm putting my feet in the dirt, and until the Ravens offer up that money, I am not budging. And I'm not signing some contract that I know that is lesser than what I should make. I know that there's probably some Ravens fans out there, but saying, like, well, wait a second, what if he takes this contract and they can build more around him, and that'll get him more wins, and that'll make him more successful? You know what, Q? If I'm Lamar, if I'm most players in that situation, I don't take that deal. I keep it pushing forward.
Yeah, of course. I mean, look, it's a business on both ends. It's a business for the NFL and the players and the team, but it's also a business for the quarterback and the guy that's trying to get paid. So everybody's not Tom Brady, where they have a superstar model wife where she gets paid so much that he can afford to take a haircut here or a haircut there to allow some players to be built around the team when he was doing that in New England. And nobody should be expected to be that guy. I mean, these teams, they'll kick a player out the league real quick, fast, in a hurry, regardless what your contract says. They'll cut you and let you move on, and then who knows if you have a place to, a landing spot or not. So you got to get as much money as you can. I never begrudge a player to get as much as possible. And the other thing about Lamar Jackson, where he's in such a position of power, is, they need him, but they also built this team around him to complement what he does. So you can't go and just draft any quarterback and make it work, right? You can't just go get another guy like Kirk Cousins. You can't go get a Kirk Cousins and say, hey, you're going to run this offense, because it wouldn't work, right? So you'd have to go get a guy that's similar to Lamar Jackson. I know that they have, Huntley there, who's the backup quarterback, and I think he's actually pretty nice, but he's not Lamar Jackson, right? I mean, so, you have a certain mold of a guy that you have to go get if you're going to move on from Lamar Jackson with the roster that you have. And if you're going to go get a conventional quarterback, then guess what? You're overturning and kind of rehauling your whole roster because it wouldn't fit and it doesn't work in the style of that. So it's a lot to this, and that's why I think Lamar Jackson's in a position of power.
He's in a position of power. He needs to use that power to get paid and become maybe even the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. We'll see if that happens, or if we're going to be seeing Lamar Jackson play the franchise tag game for the next few years. But there's other quarterbacks out there who don't have to worry about that right now. Those are the rookies and some of the youngest quarterbacks in the NFL. We'll talk about them, where they are, and when they might be taking over for their teams in a minute here on the Friday edition of the Locked On NFL podcast. I'm Chris Carter with your boy Q. Stay tuned. Back here on the Friday edition of the Locked On NFL podcast. I'm Chris Carter. He's your boy Q. Let's talk about the rookie quarterback situations, because everyone was downplaying this class, but we have at least two guys from this class who are causing some stirrups as far as should they be starting for their teams. That's, of course, Kenny Pickett for the Pittsburgh Steelers and Malik Willis for the Tennessee Titans. Both are behind quarterbacks who are former first-round picks, who are on not their first teams. Ryan Tannehill has had success with the Tennessee Titans. Not great success, but he's had a rebuild of a career. He's actually won. He's won a playoff game or two. He's been competitive. But hasn't looked over what everyone knows. That's Derek Henry's offense. He's not a superstar quarterback. Mitch Trubisky, of course, with the Steelers. We'll see how that plays out. He looked good in the preseason, but I think both teams are in interesting positions because Malik Willis and Kenny Pickett both had as good of a preseason you could probably expect from a rookie quarterback in the NFL. Both were decisive, both were athletic, both made some great throws at times, and it made me wonder, how soon is that turnover happening? Now in Pittsburgh, I'll tell you, Mitch Trubisky is going to be the starting quarterback week 1. That's just it's been the case for a while. Kenny Pickett has checked off a lot of boxes going on the way. And this is a guy, I'm telling people, for those who don't know me personally, I've covered the University of Pittsburgh's football team for the last 2 years. I covered them again last night for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. But I've seen Kenny Pickett up close. I believe in Kenny Pickett. I think he is the franchise quarterback of the future for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I also think that he needs more time to get ready to the NFL speed, not just of the game itself, but of what it's like to prepare 1 week, then a next week, then a next week, and dealing with NFL defenses that are game planning for you week after week. And then Mitch Trubisky gives him time to do that and learn what that's like, while it also gives the Steelers a competent quarterback to kind of manage the offense while the defense and the playmaker and the skill players on the offense win the games for them. Q, in your mind, who starts first, Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett?
I think that Malik Willis will probably get the action before Kenny Pickett does. And the reason I say this is going back to Pittsburgh and their head coach, Mike Tomlin. I just think that he is too successful as a head coach. He knows what he's doing a little bit too much. Not that Mike Vrabel doesn't, but it's just he knows the setup, right? He understands what's going down. He knows how the team is prepared, and he knows how to get the most out of his players. So I think that he's smart enough to allow Kenny Pickett to be able to sit behind Trubisky until he feels like, okay, he's ready to go. So I think that he'll be able to buy plenty of time with Trubisky. I don't think Trubisky is a very good quarterback, but I think he'll be good enough. Again, Mike Tomlin happens to be a really damn good coach in the NFL, so he's able to get the most out of his guys. And then when he feels like, okay, it's time to be the Kenny Pickett show, that's when he'll make that move. I honestly think when it comes to Malik Willis, I think he's going to play sooner rather than later. I really like what Malik Willis has going on. I think that he's going to actually be the best rookie quarterback out of the class. I really do. And I'm excited about his opportunity. When I saw him out there playing, all I could think of was like Air McNair, right? I'm going back to, Steve McNair, and rest in peace to Steve. But I just think a more athletic Air McNair is what I see when I look at Malik Willis. So I'm excited about his opportunity. And I've never been a believer in Ryan Tannehill, just never. I mean, I didn't like him when he was in Miami. I didn't like him when he went to Tennessee. I didn't like him when he got comeback player of the year. I didn't like him when he got a contract extension. I just don't think he's very good. I mean, think about this. The Tennessee Titans, they sacked Joe Burrow, 9 times in the playoffs, and they still lost. Why'd they lose? Ryan Tannehill threw 3 interceptions, threw the game away, and Cincinnati ends up advancing. So, I mean, I just don't believe in Tannehill, and I think at some point that trust in him is going to run out, and they're going to pass the sticks on to Malik Willis, and it's going to be the Malik Willis show. And I'm excited, and I'm all here for it.
Man, a Malik Willis show with a Derrick Henry show at the same time.
Oh, man.
That'd be a scary offense. And especially, they went and got Traylon Burks. If they can get the passing game going with that running game while having to worry about, because like Ryan Tannehill's not immobile. He can get up out, but he can't do what Malik Willis does. He can't run an 80-yard touchdown the way Malik Willis, he's going to get up out, and when he hits the Jets, you're going to have a hard time catching him. And listen, I don't dislike Ryan Tannehill. I think he did a good job recreating his career in Tennessee. I didn't think he was a bad player in Miami, but I thought he did a good job. He became a good manager. He wasn't a game breaker, I guess you would say, for Tennessee, but he balanced the offense, gave him a chance to actually work with Derrick Henry, because before he got there, everyone was just like, just stop Derrick Henry and this offense is done. At least with Tannehill, it's like, okay, these receivers, you have to pay attention now at least a little bit to the passing game. But I do think Malik Willis has the potential to open things back up. In Pittsburgh, Kenny Pickett, what he does so well is he is seeing the field at an elite level in these preseason games. Now, I will say these are preseason games. This isn't the same, and that's what they would. They wanted him to check every box. Q every week, like for the first preseason game, they let him run. Against the second and third strings for a while. He had a great game, had a game-winning touchdown drive, 2 touchdowns in the game. Even called up a play where he was like, "I want this look on this play to get it to this player." To make it work. Then in the second game, they give him 2 drives against the first team, so they limit him, give him a small sample size, and he makes it work with a touchdown at the end of the half. Then in the third game, he gets a bunch more drives against the second team and first team a little bit there, and you see him be able to move the ball and still get and he didn't get a touchdown, but he still looked efficient. And when you look at how Kenny Pickett played and how he performed, you think like, man, he's checking off all these boxes here. He could become that guy where he's seeing the field and making the right decisions. He can use his feet. Now he's not Malik Willis fast, but y'all see
the wiggle though. He's got some wiggle.
He got wiggle. He's got wheels. He can make people miss, and he knows how to do it within a football sense. Now he has to learn how to slide. He keeps doing the little dive thing at the end, like he's mad hitting the square button. But at the same time, he's able to do that kind of stuff. I really think that I agree with you. I think we'll see Malik Willis first, but I will say this. I do think Kenny Pickett does get a starter to this season. Mitch Trubisky's never played a full, complete season in his career, whether it's injuries or other issues. And I think that with the way that the Steelers' offensive line looks, there's going to be some tough hits. There's going to be some plays where they're going to have to use their wheels. And they're going to have to kind of survive. And Mitch Trubisky might get banged up, might have an opportunity, and that will, or might even just have a bad game. And like I've been telling everybody, I don't think the Steelers have a long leash on their quarterbacks anymore like they did with Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger could throw 10 interceptions in the game, and they say, okay, Ben, go out and try it again the next time. I think Trubisky's going to have like a 3 to 4 interception kind of leash where it's like, okay, if it's just a bad day, it doesn't mean that you lost the starting job forever. Right. But obviously something's not clicking. We got 2 other quarterbacks that we think can run this offense. Let's give one of them a shot, and you just come back and get them next week. And that might be the opportunity that opens up for Kenny Pickett. And I'm telling you, Q, in the city of Pittsburgh, they are ready for Kenny Pickett to take over. They've been chanting his name all the time. He unveiled the ACC championship banner at Acrisure Stadium last night in the backyard brawl. This city loves that guy, and I'm telling you, at Acrisure Stadium, as soon as he takes the field for the first time in the regular season, it's going to be loud in the city of Pittsburgh.
Right. I mean, again, he's the guy from Pitt, right? I mean, he's right there. So I mean, he's already he's got that hometown love already. I mean, everyone's already grown up with him. So yeah, they're ready for him to take the field. But I think that Mike Tomlin's going to be able to manage that really well also. I mean, the one thing I know about Mike Tomlin, and even better than I do, he ain't worried about the fans. He ain't listening to the fans. When you start listening to the fans, you're going to start sitting with the fans. And Mike Tomlin ain't going to do that, right? He knows what he's doing. So he's got a good game plan. So yeah, I think we'll see Willis ahead of time. I think Pickett's going to be really good as well. I like that pick when they made that pick, but I just think that there's something special about Malik Willis where he's just going to really open things up and show Tennessee what they've been missing at quarterback. Again, like you said, Tannehill's he's not terrible. He's not bad. He's just not.
He's average.
Exactly, and I think that you want better than average. I mean, you want average to keep you slow and steady, but you also want to be able to open things up. And I think that's what Malik Willis is going to do. So I'm excited about when he gets into action. And I think it'll be sooner rather than later. So, let's look forward to that.
We will look forward to that for certain. Both rookie quarterbacks, I think, have acquitted themselves well in the preseason. We'll see when they get to acquit themselves well in the regular season. Q, thanks for doing the show with me. As always, it's fun. Sorry I missed out doing it with you last week. But, duty calls sometimes, and I was able to enjoy this week with you on a Friday. Let people that can find you, follow you, and get more of your work.
Everything is at my Twitter account, at your boy Q254. Radio shows, Locked On Raiders, Locked On Bets, Locked On NFL, everything. I always tweet out the link to it, so you can always check it out. And I'll be headed to Pittsburgh. I'll be headed to see Chris on Christmas Eve, I believe, when the Raiders and the Steelers match up for the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Deception, whatever you want to call it, incompletion.
It's the reception. He caught that ball.
He
caught that ball.
Yeah, okay. We got plenty of time to argue about that. So, it'll be fun. But, at your boy Q254, you can find all my work. What about you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Carter Critiques. You can also read my work at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, where I'm covering Pitt football. If you want to know what's going on with the backyard brawl and how crazy that game was, I was up close and personal talking to the coaches and players afterwards. Got also some film breakdowns that were going down as far as that. You can also check out Locked On Steelers, just like you checked out Locked On Raiders with Q. We're all on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Odyssey, YouTube, just like you find this show. Thanks so much for checking out the Locked On NFL podcast. We hope you had a great Friday. We hope you have a great weekend. Next week, Q and I are back to picking games and going over things. I'll crush him this year like I did last year. It's going to be a fun time. Absolutely. Q. It's okay, Q. It's okay, Q. Don't be mad. Don't be mad I beat you last year.
I'm a winner, brother. I'm a winner.
You are a winner until you play me. But hey, we're all winners in God's eyes. That's how I like to say it. I like to try to make Q feel better about himself. But anyways, thanks again for checking out the podcast. I'm Chris Carter. We'll see you soon.